Evening, everyone. It's Monday night. We're back with another Gaz Meets interview. Tonight on the show, we have got the creator of the Argentinian Celtic Supporters Club. I've originally started out on an account on Twitter. It's grown into a proper Celtic Supporters Club. It's Seba, and I'll apologise for the pronunciations. Is it Ongarelli? Is that right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like with an Italian accent.
Yeah. I'm going to get so much wrong tonight in terms of pronunciations. But as I say, you can keep me right anyway, Seb. So you can follow us on the socials, guys. Just along the bottom, if you search Celtic FC Appreciation on any of the Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Just give us a wee follow, a like, a subscribe, especially on YouTube. We really want to go and get subscribers up on YouTube. We're also available to download on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you download your podcast. Search Celtic FC Appreciation again. And as I say, your YouTube channel, you can check on that. If you've got any questions or comments for Seba about Celtic, any questions you want to know, or any questions about Argentinian football or the national team, get them into us. And obviously the question of the day, who do you think we'll face in the Champions League next season? No qualifiers. We don't need to go to the middle of nowhere, in July. So it's quite good that we can sit back on the 25th of August and see who we get in the group stage of the Champions League. So we'll just start. Basically, many thanks for coming on the show. Celtic's motto is a club for everyone, basically. But how it's always interesting, I think, to find out how fans like yourself get to learn about Celtic. So when was the first moment that you realised that you kind of heard about Celtic?
Well, it was in 2008. It's been like a long journey for me. I'm 28 years old, so back into 2008, we didn't have all of this. We didn't have Facebook, we didn't have Twitter, we didn't have YouTube to search for a game, or even we didn't have WhatsApp. We didn't have all these ways to communicate with fans. So it was quite difficult. I remember there are a lot of games that I didn't watch. I didn't watch them back in 2008 and 2009, but I do remember the scores. I do remember the results because I remember checking on different websites for the result, especially the quality for Champions League and anything else. But yeah, I think that was the first moment that I started to follow the club.
Yeah, and obviously, we'll talk obviously about you being back home in Argentina and things like that. But obviously, we'll touch on Ange Postecoglou and his first season at Celtic. What was your overall opinions of the season? Obviously, dream season for us.
It was. I think it was a massive achievement, especially for a manager who we know that when he signed for Celtic, we all were aware of if he was doing it well, how it's gonna be. He was known for probably most of the fans, which makes sense sometimes. But I think that by the end of the season, when you see back all the achievements with the league, especially, you can see that was a really good season.
Yeah, and obviously, we were talking beforehand there, the Champions League, they don't need to get any qualifiers. That's going to be a massive, not just a massive boost for obviously the team, but a massive boost for in terms of incoming players. Harry Kewell is obviously not officially confirmed, but he will be joining the coaching side. And obviously a player I want to kind of touch on, and I know if I'm going to get his pronunciation, is Alexandro Bernabei. Is that right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. So obviously, in terms of what can you tell us, the fans, about him? Obviously at Lannis.
Well, he's a young attacking player. I've been having chat with different journalists and fans back in Argentina about that player, and he's a really good player. I think that he's the kind of player that will suit Ange system of football. I think that is quite that kind of player that the Celtic manager wants, and of course that would be amazing. And of course, because it's Argentina, and it could be the first Argentinian playing for Celtic, over the moon.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because when I met you in the city centre a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about it, and I said to you that Celtic haven't had any Argentinian players. We've had some Argentinian players play against us, and very, very good players. But just obviously, I think it would be massive in terms of it's that kind of market that I think Ange is very keen on tapping into, kind of thing. Like not just looking at local players or kind of even players in Europe, but obviously going as far across as South America and Japan, kind of thing.
Yes, definitely. I'm agree with you. I think that these markets such as South American or going to Japan, China, or Australia, these are big markets. You will find a lot of players with incredible skills, and of course I can understand that they all want to come to Europe, because it's where the best of the football is played, is where the money is, and I understand that, but you need to start from something, and if you look on these markets, I think that you will find what you need as a team.
Yeah, definitely, and obviously, I mean, you'll know better than what we will in terms of is there any kind of hidden gems in Argentinian football that Celtic should maybe be looking out for?
Yes, there are a lot. There are always a lot of good players. I always want to say that you can that I represent Argentina, or I feel like I represent my country, but apart from that, we also represent the Spanish speakers. So when I'm speaking as Argentinian Celtic Supporter Club, I want this always to mention Colombia, Peru, Chile, Brazil, Uruguay, and the rest of the countries, and of course that you will find a lot of big players there. You just put an example: Luis Diaz, the Colombian player for Liverpool. Yes, he was playing for Colombia a couple of years ago, in a bad shape, but he managed to do it, and now he played the Champions League. He played his championship. You know what I mean? He's a good player.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, like it's all about kind of unearthing those talents and bringing them across to Europe and letting them showcase their talents. So like we'll obviously go back to growing up. I think it was Buenos Aires you grew up in. So obviously you started the social media account. I think it's 7 years ago on Twitter. Was that just started as a kind of hobby, or did you ever think this was always going to grow into the supporters club the size that it is now?
Well, I've started the Twitter account with my brother in 2015. I think I was at the beginning of the year, maybe April, May, or March, somewhere in that moment of the year, because I wanted to have a link with Celtic fans in Europe and in the rest of the world, of course, but especially in Glasgow, because that is where the team is. And after a couple of weeks and months that I've started to have more relationship with fans, one of my friends from here, from Glasgow, told me that there are Celtic supporters club around the world, and of course that was something that maybe I could do, and of course after a few months I changed the name of the account, which was Celtic FC Argentina, to Argentina CSC, and then everything started to grow, fortunately.
Yeah, as I say, just I love the fact that you can start something just like that as a hobby kind of thing, and it can grow arms and legs and kind of thing. Like, I started on the Celtic FC appreciation page, I don't know how many years ago now, through one of my best mates, Michael, and it grew from different pages. It was the Craig Gordon page to the Fraser Forster page, at one point it was the Brendan Rodgers page, and the abuse we were getting because when Brendan left, we couldn't seem to change the page name for ages. So it's great that it grows arms and legs, and you obviously get to link up with different Celtic fans. Obviously, when you did come over, kind of thing. So in terms of obviously going back to Argentina and talk about your local team, I believe it's Independiente.
Yes, exactly. Here, my team is that team.
Yeah, and obviously, massive kind of rivals to use is Racing Club. You face each other in the Avellaneda derby. So in terms, I don't know if you've been to any Glasgow derbies, but in terms of what differences do you see between the two derbies? Do you think there's similarities?
I think so. There are similarities, and of course there are differences. I've been at Celtic Park on a derby. I've been in Hampden Park on a derby. I haven't been in Ibrox, especially during the last years when we were not allowed to have too many fans, and it was quite difficult for me.
Yeah.
But of course, you will find a lot of differences, but it doesn't mean that one derby is better than the other one. The way that we enjoy football is sometimes different because of the way that we watch the football and we think on football, but sometimes it's culturally similar with that because of the passion that we put in Argentina and in Scotland. Of course, most of the Celtic fans know more Boca and River Plate rather than Independiente and Racing. Well, maybe Racing because of that game, but it's one of the biggest derbies in the entire continent. So of course that I've been there and I enjoyed a lot, and I also enjoy watching Celtic against in the derby against Rangers.
Yeah, as I say, like there is nothing like. I mean, I don't know firsthand, obviously, the Argentinian derbies and things like the South American derbies. I've only seen them on the TV, kind of thing, but they always look fierce. They always look ferocious, like the Glasgow derbies. So in terms of like growing up, then for yourself, who was your idols? I know, obviously, a lot of Argentinian people will say Maradona and Messi and things like that. Was there anybody kind of apart from them that stood out for you?
Well, of course, you mentioned both players, Maradona and Messi. They are the most important. Not only football, not only players. They are like a person. They are the biggest ones in Argentina. But I grew up watching Juan Román Riquelme, for instance.
Yeah.
And he played for Boca Juniors, and I remember playing against my team Independiente and playing an amazing game, playing in a perfect performance. But I enjoyed watching him. I enjoyed watching Riquelme playing for the national team as well. So of course there are a couple of players that will make you love football, especially when you grow up with these players. But of course I remember watching Crespo, or Hernan Crespo. I remember watching Esteban Cambiaso. I remember a lot of big players, Javier Saviola. So yeah, that fortunately we always have good players.
Yeah, that's the thing, because obviously, like, my idols growing up, I mean, you probably, I'm kind of wee bit older than you, but I remember players like Simon Donnelly, Jackie McNamara in the 90s, Pierre Van Hooijdonk, Paolo Di Canio, things like that. But for me, Henrik Larsson was, he was the best, or one of the best I've seen, definitely in European football, Scottish football especially. But, when you look at Messi, for me, I know there's this whole Messi-Ronaldo debate, and I don't really like it because, I think why not just appreciate both of them for their footballing skills, and I think when a lot of people say about Maradona and Messi, who's better and things like that, but it's different eras. It's different eras of football. It's different styles of football, and as I say, I just think that Messi's just on another planet. He's just on another planet, honestly, when he gets the ball at his feet. But the Argentinian Football League was actually founded. I stay in the Gorbals area, of Glasgow, and you probably know what I'm going to say. The founder of Argentinian Football League, Alexander Watson Hutton, 1893. He was considered, I think you call him the father of the godfather of Argentinian football.
Yes.
So, how strange is that a connection for Argentinian football, that it's somebody from this neck of the woods?
Oh, absolutely. You will find in Argentina a lot of British clubs.
Yeah.
Rosario Central, Gimnasia. There are a lot of clubs created by British, but especially with Hutton and the relationship with Scotland, of course. Actually, my team, with the one that I showed you before, Independiente, the first batch was actually the Scottish flag because of St Andrews, and St Andrews was the first team who won a league in Argentina, the tournament in Argentina officially. So that my team that I support, Independiente, took that batch. So that's why we have flags, we have shirt, and it looks like, I don't know if I'm in Scotland or in Argentina, because there are more Scottish flag than Argentinian.
Yeah, so you feel right at home, kind of thing. Obviously, you guys were founded in 1905. I think you were formed as one of the top 5 clubs in Argentinian football. How massive is that? How massive is that to be kind of labelled as one of the founding teams of Argentinian football?
It is massive. Yeah. Well, we Independiente won 21 international cups, right? So it's kind of a big team, even though we are not in a good moment. But of course that it is important, especially in the continent in South America. So I'm kind of proud of that.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, I probably should say that I've missed out on our new sponsors. I meant to say at the start of the show, but we'll give them a wee shout out now. Our new sponsors, the wee tea company, based in Dunfermline. Give them a wee check out. They do over 35 different brands. Some of them are really, really nice. Lots of herbal teas and flavoured teas. Give them a shout out and tell us we sent them to you. Iconic Sport Moments as well. One of the guys from there, they do different kind of sport moments and frames. It's from baseball to American football to basketball and football and rugby and cricket. So, get onto the socials and give both the companies that you like. Much appreciated for their sponsorship. So, Seba, obviously, you moved to Glasgow in 2019. Was that always going to be the plan, or was it through work, or did you find somebody, you met somebody here?
Kind of all of the things that you mentioned. I always wanted to visit Glasgow. I always wanted to move to Scotland. I visited for the first time in 2017 with my brother, Hero, and after 1 year, that was in April 17, and in 2018 I decided that I needed to take a flight and see how is everything going in Glasgow. And since 2019 I'm here, so yeah, happy with that. Happy that we don't have too many restrictions, because it was quite difficult in the last year, but enjoying the city, enjoying the country, enjoying watching Celtic. So
yeah, definitely. And obviously, what was your opinions or your thoughts on the city when you first moved? Was it very much different to back home, or?
Yes, it's different. There are completely different countries in terms of architecture, in terms of a lot of things. But of course, that I really like both countries. But of course, that Glasgow is really nice. I really enjoy being here.
Yeah, and obviously, I was asking about your football idols kind of growing up, but who from the Celtics team, since you've followed them, has kind of stood out for you? Which players have kind of stood out for you?
Well, of course, Scott Brown. He was the kind of player that I followed his entire career at the club. especially because you need to put it in a context. It was difficult for me to even research on Celtic. Imagine 2008, 12 years ago. It was quite difficult for us, for South America. That's why sometimes it is still difficult for me to help the club to grow in this part of the world. So of course, Scott Brown, he was the main one. He was the one that I always wanted to meet, which fortunately I had the chance in 2017. But the first player that I really liked how he was playing was Georgios Samaras.
Oh, big, Georgios, as we called him.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that there are a few Celtic fans that will not agree with me, but yeah, when you are far from home, and there's the way that you watch football sometimes is quite difficult, but I still like him.
Yeah, I mean, I think, listen, I think that's what's great about, everybody doesn't have the same favourite players. Do you know what I mean? Like, I did love Sammy, to be fair. But he was the kind of player that could get a manager the sack as well as getting him a bonus. Do you know what I mean? Like, because he would have good weeks and bad weeks, and similar, I think, to probably his fellow countryman Georgios Giacomakis. I think Giacomakis obviously came on to a really good game last season, but he's got hints of a kind of Samaras in him a wee bit, kind of thing. So obviously, in terms of you're like a journalist, obviously, do you do much sporting journalism over here?
Yes. Actually, I've been working with Scottish football, especially with Scottish football, since 2015 or so, and now I'm currently following the Scottish League with the national team and social media. So yeah, it's doing some stuff, and especially because I'm here and I have the chance to go to Celtic Park and watch a game and make a wee report or something. So yeah, quite interesting.
Yeah, so obviously, we mentioned Celtic Park there. In terms of your first game, then the first time that you walked through the gates at Celtic Park, what was the day like? What was the game? Did we win? Give us your kind of first Celtic game story.
Yes, that was in 2017, again with my brother, when we visited the country, and it was 4-2 against St. Johnstone. By the end of the season, Celtic was already champion, but I do remember that game we couldn't see 3 goals. Why? Because 10-15 minutes before the halftime, we were told we were in the standing section.
Yeah.
So we walked through under the stand because we were gonna go to the pitch and in the halftime. So at that moment I missed 1 goal, but I was thinking, man, you are going to the pitch, so you're gonna be seen by the entire stadium and all Celtic View and Celtic TV and in the halftime we had the chance to be interviewed for a few minutes, and my knees still shaking because it was unbelievable. So on the way back to the standing area, Celtic scored 2 goals at the beginning of the game, so I missed them, but I was quite happy because that was quite interesting to view, especially for your first time at Celtic Park.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's no many Celtic fans that have the privilege of actually walking out onto the park during the game or at halftime during the game and getting interviewed. So, I mean, it's probably typical Celtic that they would score that many goals and you would miss them, kind of thing. But obviously, just in terms of, I mean, the atmosphere, I don't know if obviously would that be in 2017? I'm trying to think if that would have been Rodgers or Lennon.
I don't remember. It was April.
I think it would have been Brendan. Yeah, it would have been Brendan Rodgers at that time. So I think it was 2018 or 2019 so. Lennon came back. Yeah, so obviously, talking about Brendan Rodgers, obviously massive success he brought to Celtic in a time when we really needed it. After Ronnie Dyler. So in terms of, during the quadruple treble seasons, that dominance of success, 12 trophies out of 12, what was there a certain cup final that maybe stood out for you as a favourite cup final?
Of course, when I go back to Argentina in 2017, that was in May, just a couple of weeks before that final against Aberdeen that Rogic scored in the last minute. Of course, that was a big final for me, because I was there. I was at Hampden Park because my first game was against Rangers. That 2-0 that McGregor scored and Sinclair by penalty. So we wanted to be in the final. Of course, we needed to go back to Argentina. But yeah, I think that was a big game, especially how it was, that game, with an extra time and scoring in the last minute.
Yeah, and as I say, like I don't go to Hampden, to be honest, because I think either I thought that either I was a jinx or Hampden was a jinx, because Celtic, but probably before Ronnie Dyler, couldn't seem to win at Hampden. So I can remember going to a couple of games. There was a game against Ross County in the semi-final of the League Cup when we lost, and I think Effie Ambrose gets sent off. And then there was a game against Inverness in the Scottish Cup, and I was like, nope, I'm never going back. And I've been offered tickets left, right and centre. I'm saying I don't care. We could be playing Kelty Hearts or, Stranraer or something in the final, and I'm like, nah, I'm not going, because I just think I'm going to be a jinx kind of thing. So no, but it's great that you've been to so many Celtic games, and I noticed you were at Tynecastle as well for watching the women lifting the Scottish Cup as well. That was a great advert for the Scottish women's game.
It was a really good and interesting game.
Yeah.
I've been in quite a lot Celtic women games. Celtic Park, Hart Stadium, and a lot of players. But of course that final is important, especially because it's growing football, and the women football, and you can see that it's improving and they're doing it well, and it's getting more interesting every time. So for those who are not keen for the Celtic woman, let me tell you that it's getting better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was at Firhill up in Partick for the League Cup final this season, and I mean, it was a 1-0 win for Celtic, thankfully, because otherwise it would have been, honestly, it was like -7 or something. Honestly, it was so cold, and I had like 5 layers of clothing on, and I was sitting there like, hurry up and finish this game, like sitting there,
come on,
getting frostbite. So as I say, I was meant to go to the Women's Scottish Cup final, but I had tickets for the Martin O'Neill evening at the CSC, so I managed to give tickets to a guy who took his wee boy for the first time to a game, which was great, obviously. So in terms of, like, we've talked about Ange Postecoglou, obviously massive season last season. We're going into the Champions League. Do you think he needs to alter his approach to games for the Champions League, or do you think he'll just go, he's got one vision?
Well, I think it's gonna be tough for Celtic this Champions League, because it's gonna be the first time since how many years? 2-3 years? I don't know.
5 or 6 years anyway, at least.
Yeah. So it's gonna be difficult, especially if you've been playing Europa League every single year. But of course, we know how Celtic is in Champions League, especially with the fans at Celtic Park. So it also depends on the group. Hopefully, we can get a better draw this time. But I'm excited to see Celtic playing Champions League. I've never been on a Champions League game. I've been in Europa League. I've been in Scottish Cup, League Cup, and never in Champions League. So I'm looking forward.
Oh, definitely. We need to get you sorted with tickets for that. As I say, like I remember the last Champions League game I was at. We played Bayern Munich at Celtic Park, and the noise levels inside Celtic Park were absolutely. We should have actually won the game. Funnily enough, I can remember. I'm trying to think who it was that missed chances. It might have been Stuart Armstrong at the time, because obviously it was under Rodgers. And I remember, I think it was Stuart Armstrong missed a couple of absolute chances. Sinclair might have missed a chance as well. and then obviously they take the lead, but Callum McGregor equalises with I don't know how many minutes left in the clock, and the whole place goes absolutely bananas, and absolute limbs everywhere, honestly. And the noise level from that until, I mean, Bayern scored pretty quickly. To be fair, I think it was like 2 or 3 minutes after McGregor scored. So, but I was so proud of the team that night. I mean, and things like that. It's you know, when you can take on the Europe's best and really kind of give them a game, make sure they're in a game. Obviously, we've beaten Barcelona in the Champions League, which was a phenomenal night. But you know, when we need to get to that level again, where we make it a fortress kind of thing. So obviously, we've spoke about Celtic. You know, we've got to talk about the World Cup. Unfortunately, Scotland aren't going to be there. You know, we bottled it. We won't be there, but Wales will, and obviously all the best to them in November. Argentina, led by Lionel Scaloni, will take the team to Qatar. He's going to face Poland, Saudi Arabia, and Mexico in the group. Do you think that the feel-good factor is back with the national team?
I love the national team, and I'm 28 years old. So the last time that Argentina won a tournament, apart from last year in the Copa America, was in '93, and I born in '94. So imagine that I've never seen Argentina win a single major tournament before last year. So it was difficult for us, especially because you're a country that you always expect to win a World Cup, to win the best tournament, to win everything. And when you are not doing it, it's difficult. It is difficult. So we are part of a generation who've seen this change in the national team, which is unbelievable and is lovely. So I wish I can be in Qatar to watch Messi score, to watch Messi playing that big games, because it is going to be amazing for us.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, he spoke about the Copa America. I remember watching the final against Brazil, the absolutely world-class finish from Di Maria, that won the game kind of thing. Obviously, Celtic fans have a I would say a love-hate relationship, because we love to hate him. It's Neymar, obviously, of Brazil, you know. So anytime he's on the losing side of a team, you know, we're loving it. So that was brilliant for me personally. But in terms of, obviously, you know, I know he's won the Finalissimo this year as well against Italy, beating 3-0, you know, a massive game at Wembley. You know, so in terms of, you know, as I said before, Lionel Messi, you know, one of the greatest player that I've probably ever seen in my lifetime. And, you know, is this the moment that he can finally emulate Diego Maradona and lift silverware with Argentina?
Personally, I don't think that he needs to reach Maradona. I think that they are both in the same level. You mentioned something before when we started the chat, that Maradona and Messi, you need to enjoy them. If I mean, I've never seen Maradona, of course, because of my age, but I've seen Messi my entire life. But it doesn't mean that I will have to say, "Oh, Messi is better than Maradona." Of course, that you can say it, and it's a personal opinion, but I think that we need to enjoy both, and that's the difference that happened in Argentina. Messi was criticized plenty of years for a long period of time in Argentina, especially when he started as a national team number 10. And then when we realized that we were in front of one of the best players in the entire history of the football, we changed that, and we realized that we need to enjoy him. And no, it doesn't matter if he wins a World Cup or not. Of course that I want him to win a World Cup.
Yeah.
But he will not equalize Maradona if he wins or not the World Cup.
Yeah, because obviously, you know, Maradona obviously won a lot more internationally kind of thing. He's not just an Argentinian hero, he's a Scottish hero, because obviously his goals against England in the 1986 World Cup, which was unbelievably the last time you won the World Cup, which is, that was the year I was born, and that's crazy to think a team like Argentina can go so long without winning the World Cup. Who do you think will be the teams to look out for in Qatar in November?
Argentina, of course.
Yeah, obviously Argentina. They're in the final. That's fine. They're in the final. But who else? Who else?
Of course, Brazil. They have a big team performance. Excellent. I think that both are in a really good level. Of course, at France, they are doing it well. They are the champions of the world because they won the last one. But of course, you have Germany, which is a country that they are always playing the best games. So I would say this form for a semi-final.
Yeah, I think to be honest, I think I know that I was watching England and England Germany game last week, and they were saying typical England, like banging on about how they're second favourites to win the World Cup, even though they've not won a game in the Nations League group yet. It's incredible the arrogance that the English media have, and to be honest, I think Denmark's really going to step up to plate, and I think they could be again. I think they could be there and thereabouts in the semis, possibly the final. As you say, France, Brazil, these teams are always going to reach semi-finals and finals. But I think personally, Denmark are probably going to be the team for me to look out for. So, in terms of just to finish, Seba, what is the kind of plans in the future for yourself for maybe the Argentinian Celtic Supporters Club?
To keep growing as much as we can. It is important now that we have Champions League. The games are going to be shown on TV, and what I found is that it's so difficult if the games are not shown on TV, because there's no way you cannot arrange a meeting because there's no pubs that will show the game. And another thing is Celtic Rangers, sometimes they are playing at midday in Scotland, which means that it's 8 a.m, and who's gonna open a bar at 8 a.m? Yes, the guy from New York, the Celtic Supporters Club, they are doing it, and they can send me now, but Seba, I'm opening the bar at 6 a.m. Yes, that's true, but of course the difference between America and the rest of Latin America or South America is that there are a lot of Celtic fans in America living. So it's difficult, but we are a lot of Celtic fans, not only in Argentina, in the rest of South America. So I think that we are doing it well, and hopefully with some good victories in Champions League or good performances, we can keep growing and help Celtic to be more known in this part of the world.
Yeah, and just in terms of whereabouts, particularly in Argentina, the Celtic fans kind of come from. Is there just one part of Argentina, or is it kind of spread all over?
No, fortunately, we are quite spread in the country. Of course, that most of us are based in Buenos Aires. If you go to the Argentina Celtic Supporters Club account and Twitter, you can see a map of Argentina with the badge of our CSC with in all the part of the country. We have in the south of Argentina, we have in the north, in the center, we have in different parts, which is quite interesting because there are Celtic fans who contacted us and saying, what can I do in the country? Remember, it's the 8th biggest country in the world in terms of it's massive. It's difficult to travel to. But if you want to go to the south, you will find Celtic fans. If you go to the north, again, the same. Even if you want to go to Peru, to Colombia, it's exactly the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I remember last season when we were playing Rangers in the derby games, and the Celtic Twitter account, the Japanese Celtic Twitter account was tweeting, good luck to Celtic, and I'm thinking we've got a whole country behind us, like watching us. I don't even know what time in the morning it would have been in Japan or whatever, but it's obviously the same in Argentina kind of thing. When you get to these big games, the derby games, obviously people's got to be watching them kind of thing, despite the fact that it's 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning.
No, but we watch it. We watch the games, and sometimes
Yeah.
it's a Sunday at 8 in the morning, which is difficult to wake up on a Sunday morning. But we are always awake, watching Celtic, supporting the club, and trying to get more and more known in this part of the world. And that's basically a Celtic family, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Do you know what I mean? It's a club for all, and what it's great that we're expanding, you know, all over the world, and it's great for us podcasters to get guys like yourself on to you know, put the good word out there to anybody that doesn't know, and for anybody that doesn't know, obviously, you know, you get onto social media and you search for Seb, or you search for the Argentina Celtic Supporters Club. You know, get on and give them a follow, and let's get the page growing, guys. Seb, we'll leave it there now. But really, really, thanks for coming on. I know you're working soon and sort of training soon, so you know, it's I really, really appreciate you coming on.
No, thank you. I really appreciate that. We met a couple of days ago or weeks ago at the city center, that we can have these chats, because it's always interesting. I love to have chat with different part of the Celtic family, and I think that's the way that we can all, as Celtic fans, help the club to spread the love of this club. So I really appreciate that. Anytime I'm here to do. I'm actually in Glasgow, so imagine that. It's even easier.
and obviously, you know, any kind of inside info you can send us. You can DM me kind of thing, and so we can get the story, break the story first. So listen, guys, we're available at downloading Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Just download it, search for Celtic FC Appreciation, leave us a review. Same on the YouTube. If you check our YouTube channel, you know, we're going to get more content up. Just try to get subscribers up. You know, it seems to have had a wee bit of a lull now. And obviously, you know, thanks to the sponsors, WT Company and Iconic Sport Moments. Get onto socials, give them a message, guys, and see what you can get off of them. So until next time, I'm going to get Kenny Mackay from Flip the Mindset. Got to get him on this week. That's going to be a really, really interesting chat as well. So in the meantime, guys, keep following the page and keep liking it. Cheers.